Hey y'all, welcome to or welcome back to my channel, Scotty Cherie Reads. Today is a very exciting vlog, as you can tell in the title below, but it's here. I have the physical copy and I'm so excited to dive into this. If you don't know, really quickly, this is the third and final book in the Skyland series, which is about a group of 3 women friends, and each book focuses on their own individual relationship. So the first book was Before I Let Go, and this was Yasmin's story, 5 stars. I'll link a video where I read this above. The second one is This Could Be Us, and this is Soledad's story, another 5 stars. And now I am excited for Hendrix, and based off of the first book, I feel like Hendrix's personality is the one I'm the most interested in, so I have high hopes for this book. However, I haven't read the back or anything about this, so I'm gonna read it to you now. It says, Hendrik Berry lives a fabulous life. She has phenomenal friends, a loving family, and a thriving business that places her in the entertainment industry's rarefied air. Your vision board? She's probably living it. She's a woman with goals, dreams, ambition, always striving upward. In the midst of everything, she's facing her toughest challenge yet, caring for an aging parent. Who has time for romance? From her experience as a low ROI on relationships, I'm assuming that's return on investment, which is funny. She hasn't met the man who can keep up with her anyway, until him. Tech mogul Maverick Bell is a Sorry, my dog's making a bunch of noise. Okay, tech mogul Maverick Bell is a dilemma wrapped in an exquisitely tailored suit and knee-melting charm. From their first charged glance at the summer's hottest party, Hendrik feels like she's met her match, only he can't be. Matt might be the first to make her feel this seen and desired and appreciated, but he's the last one she can have. Forbidden fruit is the juiciest, and this man is off limits as she plans to stay the course she set for herself. But when Maverick gives chase, pursuing her, spoiling her, understanding her, is it time to let herself have something more? So yeah, this seems like this could be up there for me. If you guys don't know, I have for a while and still kind of am dabbling in working in the entertainment industry. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool quips and things that I totally understand from working in that world. But yeah, but that's all I know. I don't know how long this is going to take me to get through. I'm just going to vlog this experience with you for today. If I finish it in a day, it might be a couple days. We'll see. I know today I need to go to IKEA because this little puppy chewed up our duvet a couple days ago. So I'm gonna go out there, get some bedding. I'll take it with me as I'm running my errands, and then I will check back in once I have an update with this book. See you in a bit. Here's the cute culprit that is making me run to IKEA. Silly puppy. Alright, I'm back with a little update. So I read a little bit, as you could see in some of the B-roll at IKEA. That was my first time actually eating in the restaurant. I've gotten like their really good meatballs and have brought them home before, and they're really good. But that was my first time like sitting there in the restaurant and eating, which was fantastic. But I just know this one's gonna make me cry. It's already hit me in the feels. I'm gonna try to keep this like as spoiler free as possible, but I am gonna disclose what happens in the prologue because I mean it's the prologue. It's just the first 14 pages is all I've read. But it starts off with Hendrix explaining that her mother has Alzheimer's. And we kind of knew this from previous books. It's hinted at that there's like dementia or something, but it is told specifically that she has Alzheimer's, and Hendrix is coming home for Christmas and shows up to her mother's house. Like a bunch of food is like burned in the kitchen, and she's like, what the hell? Her mother's not there. So she goes across the street to a neighbor, Miss Catherine, who is Hendrix's mom's best friend. And she like looks in the house and realizes that it's dark inside, and the nosy neighbor, which they call like the nosy neighbor, and we all know who like who that person is. I can visualize that person growing up for sure. And she's like, Hendrix, what are you doing? Like, and Hendrix is like, you know, have you seen my mom? Have you seen Miss Catherine? And the neighbor drops a bomb that Miss Catherine has passed away, and like it's been so long, like the funeral has already happened. So Hendrix is like, what the hell? And obviously is like freaking out because she doesn't know where her mom's at. If her mom didn't like let her know that her best friend has passed, like things are progressing really quickly. So eventually like Hendrix is freaking out obviously, and the cops call her and they're like, hey, we have your mom, she's down here at the plaza. Another sad thing about this is that the plaza that Hendrix's mom goes to is where her bakery used to be, and like she had to close the bakery over a decade ago. So it's implied that like, you know, the mom was just kind of getting up and forgot and was just going to work like she normally did for years, although it's been like a decade since that's happened. And that just hit so hard to me. Like, I don't know, Alzheimer's and dementia are just something that just really hits me in the feels. Like my grandmother, who was like a second mom to me growing up, I lived with her the majority of my life, she had dementia. It didn't progress to Alzheimer's, but it was pretty bad. And just similar things like this, and the nostalgia factors, and like the mother kind of being confused and then kind of coming back to and being angry. And like, I'm sure it's just so frustrating, like dealing with that disorder or that disease when you think something's real, you know something's real, and then it's not, and you kind of forget, and like you're just playing this game. And I don't know, like that's just like one of my biggest fears is to have Alzheimer's, to be honest. And yeah, I think another thing that hits me in the feels is Hendrix is kind of talking about coming home because she lives in Atlanta and she's been there for a while, and she's coming home to this smaller town in Georgia. And when she's in the plaza, she's kind of like reminiscing and just being like, oh, like, you know, this used to be a booming spot here, and like my mom's shop's gone. Like all these shops that were here in this area are all shut down and dilapidated. And I can relate to that so much. Like I literally just came home from a trip. I'm from Indiana, if you guys don't know, and I just came back like a week ago. And I was talking to my siblings about that, where it's like, you know, you just drive around and you're like, oh, like that place is shut down. Like this DQ we used to go to when we were kids are shut down. Like, you know, my siblings are like, yeah, that's been gone for a long time, because I've been gone for about 8 years now from my hometown. And I don't know, there's just a certain feeling of like, you know, things are gonna move on and not everything's gonna stay the same, but it does just, it hurts. It's like this sad nostalgia. So yeah, so then, okay, Hendrix is picking up her mom from the cops, and the cops, you know, pull her aside and they're like, hey, this isn't the first time this has happened. Like, this has become a problem. Like, she clearly can't live on her own, and you need to get it sorted between you and the family, because this can become a social services, like, issue. So Hendrix is like, all right, we'll figure this out. Surprise, she takes the mom home, and her aunt is there, who is the older sister of Hendrix's mom. And Hendrix had forgotten, and obviously the mother had forgotten, and she's there and she's, you know, cooking up a little dinner. Obviously the dinner that the mom was cooking was unsalvageable, so she just makes like breakfast for Christmas dinner, and Hendrix gets her mom all cleaned up, and they have this dinner, and you can tell the mom just had like a long day, so the mom just goes to bed, and Hendrix and Aunt Geneva start talking, and Aunt Geneva basically convinced Hendrix that she's gonna move from Virginia Beach back in with Hendrix's mother to keep an eye on her. And Hendrix is like, at first she was kind of fighting it, but Aunt Geneva's like, girl, I'm 77, like my husband's dead, my kids are grown, like I have friends here, my home church is here, like spending time with my sister is gonna be great, cool. And that's pretty much where we end in the prologue. And yeah, I'm just captivated from the jump. I mean, I love Kennedy Ryan's writing, but the themes that I can tell that are gonna be throughout this book are near and dear to my heart, where it comes to Alzheimer's, losing someone. Oh, sorry, I'm doing laundry from the IKEA stuff that I got. It's in the washer, and the Samsung washing machine is like the longest song ever, so apologize for that. We'll wait until it's finished. Okay. Anyway, I was saying the themes like Alzheimer's, family relations, because they talk about how Aunt Geneva and Hendrix's mom had a falling out because like one of their great aunts passed or something, and like the divvy up of the money in the land wasn't agreed upon, so they didn't talk for years, and they're just now rekindling their friendship. But unfortunately, like, Hendrix's mom has Alzheimer's now, and oof, like, that is so sad. I think I relate to Hendrix because, like I said, I moved away from home as well, and like what that feeling is like when you're thriving and doing your own thing, but you know, your family is getting older and you're missing out on certain events that are important with the family. And yeah, I'm eager to see where this is gonna go. I'm assuming Hendrix is gonna go back to Atlanta. We're gonna get some of her daily life, and then obviously the love interest will be introduced. But yeah, that's it. A lot to talk about just in the prologue. I'll read a few chapters before I come back and update you, but I'm gonna make some late lunch, early dinner, and I'll be back when I have an update.
Like, that love story does seem to be quite epic. Like, he does make the world of her, and he does love her. Oh, and there's more singing. There is more singing.
If you like hummus, I'm putting you on, because this supremely spicy hummus is the best thing in the world. That's it. That's all. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's snack time for all of us in this house. Alright, so I'm back with an update. I honestly haven't gotten much read today from the IKEA trip. I had to wash all the bedding, you know, make the bed, which I really like this color. We got this green and gray stripe and gray sheets, which I really like. But I had to like mop the house and do a bunch of laundry and stuff. So I got to chapter 8, and basically there's not a lot to talk about. So Hendrix meets Maverick at a house party that he has at one of his houses because Maverick is literally a billionaire. So I'm interested to see how the story is gonna go, because I don't think I've read a romance with a billionaire before, especially like a black billionaire. So I want to see how that's incorporated in this book. But they hit it off immediately. This isn't really a spoiler because it's at the beginning. They have a really deep connection because he has experience with Alzheimer's in his family. I'm not gonna say how because I feel like that will spoil it, but they do have a deep connection immediately, and I really like that. You can also tell that Kennedy Ryan did a bunch of research for this book explaining Alzheimer's and what it's like to care for a family member who is going through or being diagnosed with, or who has been diagnosed with that disease. I did want to read a quote here that I marked that explains like this bond or like deep understanding that Maverick has with Hendrix, like immediately, that doesn't happen very often. It says, "The wall of politeness typically standing between you and a stranger isn't there with Maverick. Our shared experience, the loss he understands when so few do, barreled through that barrier. And I don't know him or even know him enough to trust him, but I do see him, and I feel like he sees me. That's more than you can ask for most people you've known for years. We so rarely truly see people when they're hurt. It's even rarer not to flinch, not to look away from another's pain." I don't know, I felt that one for sure, and yeah, like their connection already makes me want to root for them. So yeah, nothing spicy has happened at all yet. We're just kind of figuring out what Maverick does for work, what Hendrix does for work. They're kind of in their own offices and we're understanding them on the day-to-day. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. So I think I'm done for the rest of the night in terms of reading, but I should have some time to read tomorrow, and I'll check back in when I have another update. What are you doing, sir? He wanted to pop in to say hey, apparently. You gonna say hi? Hello. Quick update. Sorry, I'm coming looking like a grease ball because I have sunscreen all over me because I'm about to go to the pool. Today is actually my 31st birthday, So I plan on going to a little pool. We can do like little resort pass stuff here in Phoenix to go to a resort and like have a little lounge chair, and I'm gonna do that today. I'm gonna bring Can't Get Enough with me to continue reading, and I'm just gonna sit by the pool, read, vibe all day today. Yesterday I didn't get much done reading, so I don't have an update yet. Yesterday my husband was off, so we went to dinner and did all the birthday festivities that day because he works today. So just stopping in to let you guys know what's up, and I'll take you with me to the pool. Okay, y'all, so it has been a couple weeks since I finished this book, and I'm so surprised because I was not feeling this book, like, at all. And before I get into this, I am just as surprised as y'all that this is going to be pretty much like a rant video, and there are going to be spoilers because I don't know how else to explain my feelings about this book without having spoilers, so that's your warning now. I do want to say that I still love Kennedy Ryan, and the first two books are always going to be favorites, but this one I literally rated like 1.5 stars, and the 0.5 was literally because the spicy scenes were good. Like, I'm shocked, but all I want to say is that this is weird for me because I don't like to do like a rant video, especially for like a female Black author who I'm trying to uplift. So I do want to say that I am very transparent on this channel, and if this doesn't show you right here, like, I'm gonna give my honest opinion no matter who the author is, how much I love them. Like, that's just how it is on my channel. So if you don't want to hear any critiques about Kennedy Ryan, I would log off now, but I'm gonna dive into all my reasons why I didn't like it. I'm gonna talk about the things that I did like, but I have it organized. I have my phone here, and I literally went through because if you can see, I have so many tabs, and the red tabs are all the things that I like didn't like. So I categorized them on a few categories of the main things that I didn't like, and I have examples that I'll read from the book to let you know. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so for starters, this is a billionaire romance. So Maverick, who's the main love interest, is a billionaire. He's the main character, and I just want to talk about like why that didn't work for me specifically. And I think this might just be a me thing. Like, I can totally understand why there would be people that would love, you know, a super mega rich person who's just pouring onto the love interest, who is Hendrix in this book, but it just wasn't for me. I think for starters, the way that Maverick became a billionaire was that he started like a sports betting app that did super well, and he made billions off of that with another co-worker or like friend. And I just think that's so problematic to begin with, like, especially in the Black community. Like, gambling addiction is such a serious thing that it was just a no. It was just a no for me. And that might sound so goofy, but like, I just really didn't like that. I'm like, out of all the reasons why he could be a billionaire, like, that's what you chose? Like, I don't know, maybe that's just close to home for me, but I just really didn't like it. There's also this story, or like, he talks about marijuana a lot and like how he invested in Black individuals who have marijuana companies, like in Denver and stuff, where it's legal. And I can see why Kennedy Ryan chose to do this, but I just think it's kind of tasteless. Like, there's still so many like black and brown individuals who are incarcerated for marijuana charges, and that wasn't discussed in this book at all. I feel like maybe there could have been a way that he could have talked about like investing and how important that is to invest in black businesses, especially in the marijuana industry. But you also need to have the conversation and nuance that's there about how the man is still making money off of people like us and all of the struggles that we've gone through and the amount of people that are still incarcerated for marijuana charges. So I just didn't like that at all. Like, I have an example here. I also just don't like when someone's like just flaunting their money hella, and I just really don't like that at all. Like, I have a quote here where, okay, so when we're talking about marijuana, actually, Hendrix and two of her really close friends have this business where they invest in small business, like small time business owners, to help give them money or grants or funds to start their business, which is awesome. And that's like how Hendrix has made her money. And I think that's awesome. But there's a part where Maverick takes Hendrix and her two friends to Denver in order to tour one of these marijuana plants that he invests in, to kind of tell them that that's what they need to do. And he like gets a private jet for them, which it's like, okay, fine, but I'm just gonna read it here. This is from Hendrix's perspective. They're basically gonna go, and it's like, okay, it's not mine, I just use it when I travel. That's what Maverick says, talking about how the plane's not his, he just uses it to charter around. And Hendrix like makes fun of him, and it's like, is that supposed to be your version of frugal, I laugh? And she's talking like she's talking in Maverick's voice. She's like, I don't own a $40 million plane, I just charter it a few times a month. You know, she's like making fun of him, and he's like, we all might make sacrifices. Like, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. There's gonna be some other examples about that, but we're just gonna start off that if I don't like the main character, like the male main character, the main love interest, then like it's just not gonna work for me, you know? So let's just get into the next topic. Okay, so the next topic is gonna be pretty big because I feel like the Hendrix that we knew in the other previous books is like this super independent, rich, badass girl, like woman, who like doesn't want to have kids, doesn't want to settle down in a relationship. She doesn't want to be following a man around. Like, she's doing her own thing. And I feel like in this book, like her character changed completely, and she didn't stick to this badass woman, in my opinion. I just have some examples I want to read through, and just to let you guys know and see where this is coming from. Okay, so this is Hendrix. Hendrix says, I have goals. One of them is to EP my first show. Moving into television and film is the next phase of my career, and I'm not squandering this opportunity, ruining it for a man who makes my heart race. I've seen too many women prioritize other people and sacrifice their own dreams. I see mothers do it all the time, further solidifying it couldn't be me. I've seen wives do it. I've seen Soledad do it for years with her gutter rat husband, Edward. Hell, I saw Mama do it with my father, neglecting many of the things she wanted to do for her small business to help him with his. I won't be led around by my heart and my P word, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, with some man holding the leash. So that's the Soledad, or not Soledad, sorry. That's the Hendrix that like I know and I'm rooting for. But obviously, spoiler, a big thing in this book is that she's trying to get a TV deal and like break into the TV like entertainment industry. And she has this reality TV star who's her friend, and they're supposed to be doing this spin-off show. And the person that she was in business with to get this started happens to be Maverick's ex. And ultimately, she doesn't end up doing the show and chooses Maverick instead. So it's like, what? Like, that's completely contradictory to what you literally just said in this book. So I didn't like it. Okay, another example. Let me find the page. Okay, so she's having this like friends little date night with Soledad and, oh my gosh, what's her name? And Yasmin and Soledad, the two friends, the ones that are in the other two books. They're all together with the kids and they're having like a good little time. And At one point, like, Maverick messages her and it's like, hey, so do you want to start like the next episode or what? Because they've been watching this TV show together. And Hendrix leaves. Like, Hendrix leaves, which is so not like her. Like, I don't understand. I feel like it was so out of character. Like, she literally was having, what she likes to do is like having her rich auntie time, spending time with her friends. Like, nothing is going to tear apart from her and her friends, but they're like all having a good time or whatever. And he just hits her up and doesn't even say anything. It's just like, do you want to watch this new episode or what? And she leaves the party. Like, she's just like, oh, can I have a rain check? Like, I'm just gonna leave. I'm like, what Hendrix that we know does that? Like, I don't know. It just bothered me. Another example. Hold on. At one point, they finally go on a date or whatever. We'll get into like the specifics of that. But Soledad's supposed to, I keep saying Soledad, Hendrix. Hendrix is supposed to be like this very sexual woman who's not tied to a certain person, you know. And you would think that she's had like a good amount of sex. But at one point, they get back to her apartment, and we'll talk about the problematic elements of that a little bit later, of how that all went about, because she had said no so many times, and he still just forced his way into her apartment, basically. But, okay, skipping ahead, they ultimately end up, like, dry humping on the couch, and she has an orgasm during that time. Sorry, a little TMI, but that's what's in the book. And she basically says, is it considered dry humping if you come? Like, because let me tell you, that was one of the best orgasms of my life. Girl, how? Like, I'm sorry, but like, I just can't foresee that ever coming out of her mouth. Like, I don't know. I'm like, those are just a few examples. We're going to keep getting into it, but let's move to the next topic and we'll dive a little bit deeper. Okay, another big example that I didn't like about this book, it has to do with Maverick again, and it's the fact that like Maverick is so pushy. And I really think this could be a me problem, because I'm not a person, like, I like a dominant man or individual in general in terms of like a partner, but Maverick is so arrogant and like cocky and so forthright that I just couldn't do it. Like, there's a point where he knows that like Hendrix has her own stuff that's going on, and like he does too. Like, they're both very busy people, so he should understand that like a grown-ass woman, if he texts her a couple times and she's not getting back, she's busy. And there's one where he texts her and texts her again, and she's just like dealing with some stuff, and it hadn't even been like a long time. Like, it's only been, I would say, like 20-30 minutes, and then he just calls her and she picks up, you know, and just like, oh, just thought I'd check on you, like, blah blah blah. And it's like Hendrix has told him like, I'm not about that. And I don't know, just weird. And there's a part here where I was telling you about the marijuana trip to go to the plant in Denver with her two other business partners. Their names Nellie and Kashawn. And Hendrix is like, how about like those two go and like I don't go? She's like, maybe they could come and I could skip because ... And he's like, no, that's not how this works. I hardened my voice. That's what he's saying. If you don't come, no one comes. And it's like, Maverick, that makes no sense. And he's like, those are the conditions. She could read that however she wants. So next week, is that too soon? Like, are you trying to do this for my business, or are you just trying to like get in my pants and you just want to spend time with me? Like, I did not like that at all. What's another example? Let's see. Yeah, okay, so Maverick's talking and he's just like, I'm calling you this week. That's what he said. And she's just like, excuse me? Like, that's kind of bold. Like why? Like, you don't really need to do that. And he's just like, because I want to and I'm going to. Like, not for me. Not for me. Oh, here's another example where Maverick's kind of talking about how he doesn't expect Hendrix to kind of fall for him. And he's like, I'm not oblivious, but I pose a threat to her goals, which he's talking about his ex, her name is Zier, is the model that was going to work with Hendrix to start this new TV show spinoff off of a reality TV show, or a reality TV star that Hendrix is friends with. He says, I'm not oblivious, but I pose a threat to her goals. And Hendrix doesn't strike me as the kind of woman to choose a man over her dream. Not when it would cost her something she really wants. And knowing how hurt Zier is over our breakup, being with me would most certainly cost Hendrix the opportunity. So he understands this, but then he pursues her so heavily in this book that it's just disgusting to me. Okay, so this is the part where, you know, Hendrix is starting to make room for Maverick a little bit, but she's really hesitant because she wants to have this TV show with his ex, and, you know, she doesn't really want to choose a man over this. And they exchange numbers and stuff, and he's like kind of trying to, you know, hang out with her and stuff. And at one point he literally sends the text, the "I'm in your city" text. Like, girls, y'all know if y'all have had a dude that you were kind of courting or whatever, and then he just pops up in your city and is just like,
yo, I'm in your city, what's up?
No. No. And then going back to Hendrix not like being in character, basically, she agrees to see this man. Like, she's doing like a pamper day at home, and like on page she's like, I don't really want to go, blah, 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 and he keeps pestering, and then she eventually goes, you know? And I'm like, since when, Hendrix? Like, that's just not you, you know? I don't know. So then ultimately, you know, he shows up and she's gonna take him to Waffle House because she's like, I'm not trying to get done up. Like, you know, I was pampering myself. I'm gonna hang out with this dude. Like, we're just gonna go do something I want to do. I'm gonna take this billionaire to Waffle House to like show him that you can still enjoy those things. Like, I'm sure he's never been to a Waffle House, which she hasn't. So then he shows up, they go to Waffle House. When they get back to her house after, and he's like planning on dropping her off, it's like written on page multiple times that Hendrix is like, I'm not letting him come upstairs. Like, we're gonna end it right here tonight. And he just finagles his way in there. Like, he's like, oh, how about I get a drink? Like, let's just have a drink upstairs. She's like, okay, like one drink, I guess. And then she literally gets to the door. Like, they get up to her apartment door and it's written on page where it's like in her thought, and it's like, I don't really want to do this. And she tries to back out of it again, and he pushes her again. So then she lets him into the house. And then at another point where she's like, okay, we're just gonna do this one drink, he then is basically like, oh, well, if you let me in here, like, I don't want to drink. Like, I want to just sit here and talk, blah, blah, blah. And then they ultimately end up, like, making out. They don't actually have sex, but, like, they do the dry hump and stuff. And, like, it's just gross. It's, like, literally on page. She said no. And, like, it's in her head saying that she doesn't want to and then ultimately does. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. So, at some point, Zier, his ex, and Hendrix's business partner for this show, hopefully, has her 40th birthday, and she invites them both, like, separately because she doesn't know that they're hanging out right now, and they ultimately both go. And when they're there, actually, Maverick and Hendrix have sex for the first time in a closet at this woman's birthday party. And it's like, the scene was spicy, I'm not gonna lie, but just the circumstances still was taken away, because it's like, that girl could have walked in at any time, and like, that just would have been so messed up. Like, what would they have said? And like, that just doesn't seem like anything Hendrix would do again. But okay, so then eventually Hendrix is like, okay, like, I had sex with this guy, like, I need to just go. And this party is actually in New York City, and Hendrix lives in Atlanta. So at the end, she says here, I hadn't told Maverick where I was staying, like, in New York City, but I didn't think that information was beyond his reach. I didn't put it past him to chase me down, so I got out of the city on the first thing smoking back to the A, like, to Atlanta. And I'm like, that's creepy as hell. Like, he has pursued her so hard, and he has so many strings in New York City that she was like, I think that he could figure out how to find where I'm staying and show up at my hotel. Like, disgusting. So then she does go back to Atlanta, and sure enough, she goes downstairs because they say that she has flowers waiting for her, like, the next day or whatever. And guess who has the flowers at her fucking apartment? Maverick. Like, he shows up, and I'm like, that is so possessive and creepy. Like, that was not cute at all to me. Like, I don't know, maybe some girls like that, but that is creepy as fuck. Like, no way. Yeah, no way. And then another part at the end, let me find that page. The way this book wraps up I know I'm all over the place, so sorry. If you've read it, cool, but if you were just hear me gab, like, I'm gabbing for sure. So at the end, in the epilogue, they end up engaged. So Maverick comes in, and during this whole story, Hendrix's dad has already passed away, and her mom has Alzheimer's. And that's something that I do like about this, is the portrayal of Alzheimer's and the relationship that Hendrix has with her mother who has this disease, and we'll get into that. But when he's basically proposing to her, like, they're at the mom's house in the garden in the back, which is a meaningful place for her, which seems pretty cute. He says that he, like, asked her dead dad for her hand at marriage. And he says, and he couldn't answer, of course, because he's dead. But I felt like he was pleased. I felt like I had his blessing. And of course, I asked your mother for hers, and she said yes. Like, don't talk about my dead dad if you don't, like, that's too personal. That's way too personal to me. Like, that's just a cocky thing, like, I felt like he'd be pleased. Like, you don't even know him. You don't know anything. Like, don't talk about him. Like, he could have said something like, I wish that he would have been here and I would have asked him. Like, I hope, you know, I make him proud, yada, yada, yada. But just being so cocky and being like, yeah, I think he'd be pleased and he would have said yes is just disgusting. Disgusting. I can't even. Like, I need a break. I'll be right back. Okay. Another big topic that I did not like that has to do with Maverick is that Maverick is very misogynistic. Like, things that he says in here, just so misogynistic. So I'm going to read a quote from what he said when he's talking about Kashawn, Nelly, and Hendrix, the three business owners that have that organization that helps fund small business or small Black business owners. He said, I knew these ladies were bright, but Kashawn, Nelly, and Hendrix are sponges, exploring the cannabis growery, absorbing every detail of the tour. The three of them are taking notes on their phones, capturing photos and videos, and asking Dan, the president of CBD Farms, all their questions. Like, these are grown women who have made a business for themselves. Like, you're surprised that they know how to ask questions, like, and take notes and converse with the CBD, like, business owner. Like, that was so condescending. Like, what? Another example, he comments on the amount of food that Hendrix was eating when they were at Waffle House. She goes, I guess she's hungry. Oh, wait, let me go back. He said, I noted that Hendrix gets an extra all-star meal. So the all-star meal is a pretty big meal at Waffle House if you don't know. And he's like, I guess she's hungry. But I know better than to comment on the food a woman orders. None of my business. Why was that even in there? Like, why did Kennedy Ryan put that in there? Like, it's just gross. Even more, like, misogynist stuff and just feeling like ownership. So Hendrix was super sweet because he has a private driver who drove them to Waffle House, and she had asked him, like, oh, do you want to come in with us and eat? And Maverick was basically like, hell no, he can sit in the car, like, you know. And Hendrix is like, okay, like, this is like a little date that we're doing, I get it. But she orders him a meal and, like, takes it out to him, and Hendrix peeps that the driver is kind of like checking out Hendrix because Hendrix is fine, of course. And he goes, I can't blame Matthew, the driver, for looking at Hendrix that way, but if he keeps it up, dude will be out of a job. That's my girl. She just doesn't know it yet. Excuse me? No. Another example. There's a company that these three girls are about to invest in, and they think it's going to be exceptional, which is also kind of problematic. Like, and it's a makeup company that uses AI to make sure that it gets the perfect match for Black women. And we all know it's hard to find foundation that matches our dark skin tone. You know, we got Fenty now, and like some companies are coming around, but it's always a problem for us. But they're using AI, and he's talking about, oh, that's like, you know, a great business. Like, I'm going to invest in them. And he says, I'm investing, so you'll definitely be hearing more from them. Like, just so cocky and arrogant. Just so cocky and like they can't do it on their own. Like, oh, you'll be here. Like, he's talking to people at Zier's party about this situation. So he's talking to a group of people and just being like, yeah, you'll hear about them because I'm investing. Like, you'll definitely hear about them soon. And there are so many more examples where he calls, you know, her his, even though that's not the case. They're not exclusive, no nothing. Like, so many times, like, there's this situation that happens and Hendrix has to get a lawyer, and he talks about how, you know, like, you're using my lawyer because your lawyer is going to be so much better than yours. Like, so don't even worry about it. Like, you're going to use my lawyer. Like, just weird stuff. I don't know. I just can't. I can't. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, more about Maverick. There are 2 parts in here that I noted where he talks about her younger years, or how she looks really, really young, which just gave really weird vibes. So Hendrix asked him, like, what are you thinking so hard about? Because it seems like he's kind of focused on her and, like, staring at her, you know, and she's like, what's on your mind? You know, what a lot of people do. And he's like, how pretty you look without makeup. I mean, you look pretty without it too, of course. Or you look pretty with it too, of course, but you have such a natural glow. She jokes and laughs and she's like, it's melanin and my glass skincare routine. That doesn't hurt. He's like, well, it's working. You look about 19. Pause. Don't say that shit. Don't say that. And then there's another part. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I'm all over the place, but we're getting there. There's another part that was even weirder. So he's at Hendrix's mom's house and he sees a picture of her where she's younger and, like, in high school, where she had a cheerleading uniform on, and they're talking about, like, and he's like, oh, I didn't think that she was in cheerleading, like, that's kind of weird. And then in his brain, like, we're in his thoughts, it's italicized, he said, wonder if that uniform is lying around somewhere, maybe up in the attic. Like, he wants her to put this uniform on after, like, I understand that people have fantasies and there's role playing and all of those things, but the fact that that was, like, literally a couple sentences after he saw her in high school in a cheerleading uniform, just being like, I wonder if she still has that lying around somewhere. Like, like, I would want that. It's just, stop it right now. No, gross. More about Maverick. So I just put, like, Maverick can just be an asshole in general. So he has an assistant. His name is Bolt. We'll get into Bolt and the assistant little hookup thing in a little bit. But Bolt is basically saying how, like, this relationship with Hendrix is a bit messy because at this point, Zier, his ex, has, like, found out and she's pulled out of this. Well, she didn't pull out, actually. She's moving forward with the TV show and Hendrix is not. And she's, like, not having a good time with it. So Bolt goes to Maverick and they are close. Like, he's been an assistant with him for a long time. And he's just kind of like, you know, it could get really messy, blah, blah. And Maverick snaps and he's like, the fuck, Bolt? Whose balls did you wake up with to think that you can question me? What? He doesn't flinch at my sharp words. His face is impassive as usual. And this is what Bolt says. He says, my own balls have always served me just fine. But if you're asking what gave me the audacity to question your current course of action, I guess you did by always encouraging me to speak my mind and to let you know if I see you making a mistake. Valid. He's like, you're the one. Like, we have this open communication. And I understand that, like, sometimes, like, people get heated, but, like, there was no apology. Like, just, like, move forward with that. And there was another time where he, like, threatened him, like he overslept or something, and Bolt was coming to tell him important information, and, like, Maverick is like, oh, if this is Bolt at my door, like, I'll fire him on the spot if he is. And it's just, like, gross. Like, why does he think he's all that in a bag of chips? Like, no. And I guess getting on the topic of Bolt. So Bolt is Maverick's assistant. And then there's a girl named Skipper who is Hendrix's assistant. And there's this weird relationship that they have that Kennedy Ryan put in here that I don't understand whatsoever. Like, they basically have this relationship where they argue and they bicker and then they literally leave. Well, they should be doing their job. And they go and they have sex and then they come back. And it's, like, so obvious to everyone that that's what they're doing. And I don't get it. It's like, these are two professional ass people. Like, why would, like, it got to a point where, like, Bolt and Skipper, because they'd be in the same places, like, wherever Hendrix and Maverick are, they're there. And they would be, like, arguing and bickering and stuff, like, in front of their bosses. And then they would just, like, sneak off and go have sex and come back, like, all disheveled. And it's just so obvious. And I'm like, these are two professional individuals. Like, what? And then like at the end of the book, like they're trying to make a relationship work. Like it just didn't make any sense. I don't know why that was in there at all. Like it didn't make any sense. I don't know. I've seen other reviews where people were like, oh, we want another book about Bolt and Skipper's relationship. And I'm like, for what? For what? I don't know. Guys, I can keep going on and on and on about this. I just have a couple more of dislikes here. I didn't like Maverick's relationship with his ex Zier because it was really weird. Like there was a part in the book where she calls him up and like, of course they should still be friends and stuff. I do want to say that they ultimately broke up because Zier wanted kids and Maverick did not. Like that was the only reason why they really broke up for real. Like it was just two different things and they weren't willing to budge, and Zier was still in love with him, but she just had to leave because she wanted to have a kid. So when Zier calls him up about her 40th birthday, you know, she's still kind of like flirty and stuff, and like she doesn't know that he's hanging out with Hendrix at this point, but she calls and she's just like, you know, this is my big 40th birthday, like you did all this shit to me, like you just being there is a gift, but if you want to get me a gift, like know it's the big 4-0, and like I expect you to give me a really nice gift. And Maverick's like, yeah, I can do that, like blah blah, like seems like they're like flirting, you know, and he's like asking this question because at this point him and Hendrix are kind of like beefing a little bit. And he's trying to figure out if Hendrix is going to be at this party, you know, and ultimately Zier does let him know that Hendrix is going to be there, although Zier doesn't know that they're like together and like interested in each other. But just like, that's weird. Like if you're really infatuated with Hendrix, why are you entertaining Zier? Like, yeah, I'll buy you a gift. Like, you know, I'm going to get you a good gift. Don't worry. Like, I'll be there. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then the last thing that I want to talk about in terms of negative, because I feel like I'm just rambling and it's not very cohesive, so I'm so sorry, but if you read the book, you'll get where I'm coming from. So at one point, Maverick gives Hendrix a gift, and Maverick gives Hendrix a puppy. And like, I don't think it's ever been talked about that she wanted a puppy. But when he brings the puppy in, he like prefaces her with saying like, hey, it's gonna be a good gift, but like, just remember, like, you don't have to keep it if you don't want it. So it just gave like, you don't have to keep her, blah blah. And it's like, no, like, you don't just buy a dog for someone. Like there's so much responsibility that goes with raising a dog. You can't just come to someone you're newly dating and give them a dog when they didn't even ask for it. He said, you did once tell me a dog would be the closest you'd come to maternal instinct, he teases. What do you think? And she's literally like, I'm not sure yet. I think she ultimately keeps the dog, but he's like, it's yours if you want. She comes housebroken and with some basic training, but if you decide you don't want her, ... like, That's not how you treat a dog. That's not how you give a gift to a dog. That's so problematic. Like, dogs aren't disposable like that. Like, that bothers me so freaking much. But yeah, y'all, I don't know. Just Maverick was basically all of this is to say that I hated Maverick in general. Like, I did not find him sexy, interesting, like, at all. He was kind of despicable and misogynistic, and I think that she did Hendrix so wrong because Hendrix really gave up like her TV show for this man that she barely knew. It moved super fast. Sorry, my cat is playing in the back, and it wasn't it. But I do want to leave this on a positive note and talk about some of the things that I did like, so let's get into those. Okay, so the main thing I really liked about this story was the representation of seeing a loved one go through memory loss, and in this case it's Hendrix's mom who has Alzheimer's. And it shows the personality changes that you see. And like I've said earlier, this is very close to home because my grandmother, who I lived with, who was like my second mother, had a severe bout of dementia. And her personality did change. It's like, you know, the vulgar aspects of it, it's real. And Hendrix talks about how her mother like never cussed and like went to church every Sunday. And there are parts in this book where it's like she says the F-bomb and stuff, and Hendrix is just having a hard time with seeing these changes with her mom. And I think that was done really well in this book. There were discussions of how sad it is for her mother to like relive the loss of her husband, because Hendrix's dad passed away. He was basically going out to get her mom ice cream and got in a car wreck and just never came home. So it's really sad because Hendrix's mom like sometimes is like waiting by the window for like her husband to come home, and Hendrix has a hard time with trying to tell her that like over and over again that, you know, her husband, or like Hendrix's dad, passed away. And seeing that, understanding like how traumatizing and sad that is for everyone involved. And that was handled really well. Like I got kind of welled up a little bit in some of those parts. Hendrix talks about how she's worried about getting Alzheimer's, and there's a fact in there that it says that Black women are like 2 times more likely to have Alzheimer's, and that's like one of my biggest fears. I told you guys that before. So the way that was written in the book, I think was done really well as well. And there's even a point where Hendrix is talking to her mom, and her mom is like, I don't really know what I want. Like, I don't know if I want to suffer through this or if I just want to die. You know, it's like, this is so hard. And Hendrix is like, no, mom, like, I want you here no matter what. Like, I want you to ride this out as long as you, like, you know, naturally. And I just think that that was a good on-page conversation to be had, and she did a really good job with that. There were good parts where Hendrix talks about her decision not to have kids. I actually have a quote here. Let me find it. This quote is from Hendrix. It says, "People always ask why I don't want kids. Like, it's not easy to just know you don't. I don't ask anyone to defend their decision to have kids, so why should I have to defend my decision not to?" And that was just written perfectly. Like, that's the Kennedy Ryan writing that I like just to the point, and it makes a good point. So I did like that. Although there was I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be negative, it's hard, but there is a point where okay, so Maverick and his ex break up because he's very adamant that he doesn't want to have kids. But there's a point where Maverick's dad asks him, like, are you sure? Like, sometimes, you know, if you have someone that you really, really love, things might change. Like, do you think that you would feel the same way if Hendrix says that she wants to have a kid? And Maverick is basically like, yeah, I'll probably have a kid with Hendrix. And it's like, boy, you just literally broke up with this girl and you said that was the only reason why. And then you're willing to change it up that quick for Hendrix? Like, anyway, just too much. And then the only other thing I said that I liked was that the sex scenes were spicy. And I think that these scenes were even spicier than the previous 2 books, which is a lot because they are very much on page. And I think that those were done well. But yeah, that was really rambly. If you followed, you followed. I just needed to get it out, and I feel like that was the best way for me to do it. So let me know if you read this book and how you felt about it, if you did. Like I said, I think it was just a situation of this book and the main character and the billionaire romance that I just really did not care for. But I am still eager to pick up other Kennedy Ryan books. I'm still going to uplift Kennedy Ryan because, like I said, the other 2 books are top tier books for me. So I think this was just a flop, and it was just really disappointing because obviously it's the end of the trilogy. I got the arc for this, and it just took me way too long to finish it, and I was just I would have DNF'd this 25% in if it wasn't for the fact that I had it as an arc and that I wanted to do this vlog and just speak my truth, if I can say it that way. So yeah, sorry for a negative video, but like I said, we're real on this channel, and that's just what it was. So if you stuck through this long rant, please give it a like, comment below, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. Thank you for being here. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.